Now that the 2020 season is over, it is time to hand out some awards. But don't worry, I won't bore you with predicting who is going to win the Gold Glove or Silver Slugger for each position. I will just stick to the Cy Young award in this video, and afterward I will focus on the MVP races. I will only look at the top 3 contenders, in my opinion, in each league. But hang on a minute, does that even make sense in the American League? I could tell you all day that there's Lucas Giolito, who threw a no-hitter, or Lance Lynn and Kenta Maeda, who both pitched great. But in the end, one player is so far ahead that you might as well call this race early. I'm speaking of Justin Bieber's namesake, of course, Shane. The Indians pitcher managed to win the Triple Crown. He was the first to lead the majors in wins, ERA, and strikeouts since Johan Santana back in 2006. The 25-year-old's 8 wins were tied for the most, and his ERA of 1.63 topped all other pitchers. And with his 122 strikeouts, he was way ahead of the next closest one, which was Jacob DeGrom with 104. He was just flat out dominant and unhittable at times. When Bieber eventually gets awarded the Cy Young, he will follow in the Indians' footsteps of Corey Kluber, who won it twice, Cliff Lee, and CC Sabathia. In the National League, the race is way more interesting and open. There are 3 guys who are leading and should be considered the favorites. There's Trevor Bauer, Yu Darvish, and Jacob DeGrom. Let's start it off with Trevor Bauer. He is probably the most controversial pitcher in the league right now, and you never know what show he's going to put on. He made headlines with anti-Houston Astros cleats, constantly criticizing the commissioner and the league, vlogging the entire season, and drinking imaginary beers on the mound. What you do know, however, is that he's going to shut down the opponent. The now free agent had a National League leading ERA of 1.73 and reached as one of only 3 pitchers the 100 strikeout mark. The big knock on him, however, is something he can't do anything about. He has faced the weakest opposition of any pitcher in baseball. He only had to face the Central Division teams. He got to play the Pirates, the Brewers, the Tigers twice, and the Royals once. All of these teams were pretty terrible this past season. Still, Bauer did what he was supposed to do and only allowed 41 hits and 14 earned runs. The 29-year-old goes into this tight race as the favorite. The second option would be Yu Darvish from the Chicago Cubs. He, just like Bauer, had a bounce-back season with his 8 wins and an ERA of just 2.01. Darvish, however, pitched, again just like Bauer, against the extremely weak Central teams. The Japanese-born pitcher faced the Reds and the Brewers twice, and the Pirates once. Not as weak of a slate, but still a nice draw. Nevertheless, he regained his control and almost eliminated the walks from his game, something that haunted him the previous seasons. The former Ranger and Dodger only allowed 14 walks, but still struck out 93 batters. The third and final candidate I'm going to look at is Jacob DeGrom. The New York Mets pitcher has won 2 straight Cy Youngs and could make history. Only Greg Maddux and Randy Johnson have won 3 consecutive Cy Youngs before. Only using the eye test, DeGrom still seems like the best pitcher in baseball overall. But in this small sample size of a season with only 60 games, he doesn't have a lead for the best numbers. Yes, he had an ERA of 2.38 and 104 strikeouts, but his team failed to help him out to get wins. And yes, wins don't necessarily mean much, but his 4-2 record doesn't look as flashy as the other pitchers' numbers of wins. In my opinion, the NL race is far too close to call, but I believe Trevor Bauer will end up winning. I might be a little biased, as I love watching him pitch, enjoy his antics, and like what he does for the game of baseball. And I also hope that he somehow ends up on the Giants next year.